Right. The final part. We're getting down to the nitty gritty, the practicalities of this. Because you're making money and you're selling tips to people and
Yeah.
making them money. Um, but when you look at odds checker for golf, unless a firm has gone right out on a limb with extra places, there's very little difference in the prices
Yeah.
Are you capable of pricing up a tournament independently before they do and spotting any ricks in that way? Is that
Yeah.
you?
I think that's really my strength in golf is that. So not all my members, but I have to set all my prices on Bet365 because they're the global bookmaker. I have a lot of overseas subs, and so this week's perfect example, Honda Classic. Only Bet365 go up, so my subs that have to use the exchanges, they have to wait till today. Um, and Adam Svensson opened at 55 to 1 this week. I knew it was wrong, so I got as much stake as I dare to put on. I don't want to put loads on because
You're betting all your selections yourself.
oh yeah. So I get on first in my proxy Bet365 accounts, and so put him up, and then of course other people spot him. But I'm waiting for the markets on a Monday, and like I had him a lot higher in the market. I did have him like 33 to 1 or less, and he's 33s now. So people that backed him on Monday, we got 22 points more. And that's what I bring to the people that can bet on a Monday. And it's really only with Bet365 nowadays because they set the market, the others follow. I know Sky Bet price a little bit, but he's becoming more, he does specials and they're a good bookmaker for golf still, but the Bet365 now, they're doing more markets are the ones. And so you'll see a fair bit of blue on a Monday, and a lot of it is my subscribers, which, but there's a few other guys that will be doing it, but I don't know that any are as quick off the mark as me most weeks. Like that one, I just knew. Now, I do get it wrong the odd week, but in general, I'll always take my own judgment, and I will be easily right on them prices 80% of the time. And that's just being conservative. That I've already worked them out the night before. I'm already working out the form on the Sunday's a day of work for me on the golf. So kind of I'm already making my list, seeing how the players have played that week that I'm interested in, and I'd like to be prepared so that when them prices come up, I've made my own decision. There was one where I got it wrong, so of course, but then I just have more on any case, personally. It was when Brendan Todd won back-to-back. He opened the second week, we'd already backed him the week before, and he won 100 to 1 for us. And he was going somewhere, he's even better suited the week after. And of course, layers always take the view that golfers can't win back-to-back. They love it, but they don't realise sportsmen are all confidence animals. They are all bred from when they're feeling great and at the top of themselves, they can do anything. So he opened at 80s. I straight away sent the thing to book to my members, get on. Went to hundreds, and then William Hill put him up 125s. And this is probably 3 years ago when you could get on William Hill. So I just trebled my bet by them for members. And I went with it, and he won.
But I've spoken to quite a few serious golf punters, and one of them sort of a bit dismissively said to me, "Well, the hardest part about winning, back in on the Sunday and the Monday is getting on."
Yes, it is.
So, how you offer a tipping service that's been profitable for years.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming that had you kept your knowledge to yourself, you would be still managing to get what you wanted.
Yeah.
So, how do you get around that with your subscribers? Are they warned that they have to tread carefully?
Yeah.
Because it's not going to be there forever.
I talk to them all the time about getting as many proxy 365 accounts as they can. It's really the key. If you can get a Unibet account, as many of them skins as you can, because they do go a bit independent. Betfred. I'm always trying to prepare people. And I say to people, if you're going to hammer a Bet365 account, and what I mean is I tend to spread it in small increments through the proxy ones I've got. But if you're going to hammer one at a time, be prepared. You need an account straight away because they are probably going to shut you very quickly. You know, if suddenly you're taking my bets, and if you decide to put a century break bet on, they're going to, oh my God, you know, you're going to get shut. So,
and the firms that you're talking about, with all these little markets that you're going to find an edge in, are the ones that bring the hammer down quite quick, aren't they?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I did hear on the SBC interview you did that even bookmakers subscribed to you, so they were getting in before you could even get your bets on. Pretty much.
So I'd had such a my place model after the first year and a half was running close to 40%. It'd been a real blind spot of bookmakers, one I'd been exploiting personally for years, because what they did at that time, punters just look at the top of the market. They just look at the top of the market, but really the value was way down below, you know, and the bookmakers had taken their eye off it because, you know, no one was betting it. So it was easy to find an 8-1 shot that was actually a 3-1 shot back in them days. So anyhow, of course, once I got subscribers my second year, you know, the subscribers had a great time, but the bookmakers got wise, and it was about this time of year, two of my regulars said to me, I think you've got a spy. Of course, I got my bets on prior through different named accounts, and I said, why? He says, well, they've got in 4 minutes, so I decided to watch them. And of course, the golf place was gone in 4 minutes. The snooker markets were gone. And it turned out I had 2 spies. And you know you got a spy when they've got a Isle of Man address, and you just take them out and they don't complain.
Now, there's a lot of variance in golf.
Yeah.
Big chance of a long losing run.
Yeah.
Even with your
I have them all the time.
So,
yeah.
What's your staking advice to punters who follow you in?
Right. So it was great having SBC do my things because they were able to do what I do every year, which is talk to punters where you can either level stake my stuff or you can follow my staking plan. And you know, I tell people whatever you do, be disciplined. If you're going to change, only change in a yearly fashion or maybe 6 monthly, but I prefer it, and be consistent because so I put out to them, I'll have 0.1 on a snooker match that's just a reasonable fancy, and sometimes I'll have 0.1 each way on a golfer. Now, some of my snooker subs, or my long-term subs, they bet more on them snooker lines because they can get more on. But I say to them, if you're going to do that, you've got to be consistent, and you've got to try and get the the snooker outrights on at the same price. So if you're going to get £100 on a line at 0.1, you need to get £100 each way on a 33-1 shot snooker, and that is difficult. That is where you can kind of run into problems. So I always talk to people about that. And of course, so then I break it down what you get level staking. And actually, in the end, when you're breaking it all down, level staking is just behind my staking plan. So, you know, I'm a believer, for me personally, I'd rather lose a betting account or backing a big price golf winner than I will do for having a big bet on a short price. That's me, and I talk to members, that's my personal view, because I'll always say to myself, well, if I've had a really cracking week on the golf, you know, we'll book ourselves holiday, or we'll, you know, you buy something for the house or whatever. And, you know, it always feels like, oh, well, that was worth it. I got a nice few bob.
Yeah.
You know.
But you mentioned there about when you're going to lose an account because you back a big price winner. All the firms that offer the real juice and the extra places and the little niche markets that you can exploit, ultimately you're going to exhaust all your avenues, you know, no matter how many extra accounts you can get to bet with. Is it then time to close the book on golf betting?
Yeah.
Or is there still enough juice in it to make it pay with the less generous bookies, but you can get more money on with?
Yeah, you would have to adjust, and like I said, kind of to you, there's different ways. There's like clever bettors that bet just the top of the market. They'll bet lesser selections, so less selections, less volume than me, higher, and But of course, they're not able to create that margin, so I'm kind of doing it the easy way, although it's probably not what normal people do. Yeah, it might. I mean, if bookmaking doesn't change, you know, it is gradually gonna back us into a corner, which is very frustrating. It's something I don't know if it'll affect me because, to be truthful, in 2 or 3 years we're thinking of travelling in any case, and I'll probably retire. And at that point, I shall say to my members that have been with me years, I'll still have a mailing list, but I won't bet every week. And then when I'm out of the country, I won't be betting. And you know, you can have my what I'm betting when I betted it, but I won't be keeping a spreadsheet.
Is that a roundabout way of saying that you probably don't fancy your chances if you could only bet on a Wednesday?
Your chances would, they would reduce. If I still had the bookmakers you've got now, I would quite happily, and I am betting on a Wednesday. So you can move the market around from a Monday, and you can bet on a Wednesday. You can bet in 2 different models on golf. But if you don't have the bookmakers, then you know you will struggle. I mean, it has got a bit better recently, but yeah, you just don't know where it's going to end up, do you? I mean,
well, you've hinted with the previous part there that you're thinking about going travelling.
Yeah.
My last question is making a living and tipping where you're happy to be at, or have you got other ambitions outside that sphere going forward?
Yeah, I mean, I've loved it the last few years. I mean, it's if I'd have known I could do it, I would have done it 10, 20 years ago, and people would have made more money back then. But it's exhausting some weeks when I've got a load of golf and snooker, and like by the time I get Thursday, I don't even look at sports for 2 or 3 days till Sunday sometimes. So I don't bet in running on the golf.
Do you do anything apart from taking your subscriptions and betting yourself?
So I do. I'm doing a master's in journalism at the moment. Having done a degree, I did a bachelor's degree for 3 years in professional writing and did my snooker book. Now I'm doing a master's in journalism, and I quite fancy doing a bit of freelance journalism, looking into some of the, some of the governing bodies of sport really, and I've quite an insight into what can go on, and so yes, I'm thinking of that, but I am thinking of trying to take it easier in 2 or 3 years. But you just don't know, do you? I mean, it's you make your plans and they can all get torn up. But I've enjoyed it, but it is exhausting.
Okay, so while you're still at it, what's your website?
edwardstips.co.uk.
And at the moment, you're still there offering your services?
Oh, yeah. I mean, touch wood, it's, ticking along nicely. And I've actually had quite a break-even 6 or 8 months, so I'm hoping that's, we're due a bit of a spurt. But like everything, like it's usually like the buses all come along together sometimes, and you just have to be patient in betting sometimes, don't you?
Absolutely. Well, Craig Edwards, thank you very much.
Thanks, Simon.
Cheers.
Enjoyed it.